My name is Moses Kemibaro. I'm the founder and CEO of Dotsavvy. It's a digital marketing agency I started in my bedroom back in 2002. So I've been working in the digital space in Kenya for almost 25 years. I was also one of the people who was in the initial stages of connecting people to the internet, where I worked at companies like Africa Online. And obviously in that last sort of 25 years or so, we've seen this proliferation of this technology, and that's pretty much where I built most of my career. During that time, obviously, I had other experiences. I worked at companies like 3Mice. 3Mice was the first digital agency in East Africa. I also had an opportunity to work with a company called Naspers, where we built a classifieds platform here called Dealfish. And Dealfish is today what we know as Gigi. Gigi is one of the largest classified platforms. And for me, that was an exciting experience, building essentially a startup with good funding from zero to where it got to. I also had the opportunity to work as the Africa Sales Director at InMobi. InMobi is one of Africa's largest advertising platforms on mobile. And basically I was responsible for East, West, and also North Africa. And since then, of course, I've been in Dotsavvy for a long time. And generally I love all things digital marketing and all things digital content. What I think defines success for me is whether you're able to achieve the thing that you imagine you can achieve. And then I think back maybe 10 years ago, I'm probably exactly where I thought I would be. But as I sit here today, I'm looking at all sorts of possibilities. I'd like to see my business expand beyond Kenya and East Africa. I'd like us to expand into new service areas that we're currently not doing. And basically, it's consistently this moving target where when you do arrive, then you realize there's yet another step that you can take in terms of achieving your potential for success. I think for me, probably at Dotsavvy, the biggest transition was when we first started the company. It was basically a web agency, so we were basically building and managing websites for clients. I think the fact that we're able to transition from just doing that and moving to the point where we sort of mastered social media. We now do things like digital content, we do full-scale digital advertising campaigns, and that evolution from a web agency to more or less a full-scale, fully capable marketing agency for me is a big success. One of the biggest challenges, the first one is recruiting, finding and recruiting the right people. And I think also as an entrepreneur and somebody running a startup that has been in business now for 22 years, is the process of essentially as you're growing the business, learning to let go of tasks and areas of responsibility that used to be yours. I think in the ideal working environment, there'll be minimal supervision, minimal meetings, and more importantly, people focusing on the work that they actually came to do and adding value for our clients and our partners in the process. That for me would be the perfect environment. The last great movie I saw, I think, was Dune 2, which came out a few months ago. For me, Dune is just an incredible sci-fi series of books which now have been captured in the movies, and it's just wonderful to see that on the screen. And more importantly, the manner in which they've stayed true to the material that was in the books. It's a beloved sci-fi series that many of us really enjoyed when we were growing up. The last sporting event I saw was probably my kids at Sports Day. I'm a self-confessed Arsenal fan. We are still reeling from the fact that we didn't win the Premier League this year. The last book I read, which was a very powerful read, was called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And for me, that book was very relatable to my life and the work that I do and the business I run, because quite often in startups, in very undefined industries or spaces, you have to do unconventional things to stay successful, to stay relevant. And I could see a lot of that reflected in the book. So one thing I'll tell you for a fact is I read a lot. I consume a lot of content around our professional area. I spend time understanding what trends are. In fact, I always like to tell people, deep in my heart, I'm actually a millennial or Gen Z, meaning that I spend time consuming that content, understanding the context, using things like TikTok to understand how consumer behavior is changing around things like content. Another thing is sort of partnerships, so what we like to call networking, reaching out to people who have often accomplished more than yourself and spending time with them, learning from them, almost being mentored by them, whether it's formally or informally, is also critical. There are several things that are always very difficult. I think for me, one of the ones that I really struggle with is there will be those moments when you have to let people go, all right? And this happens to businesses of all sizes in all situations, because sometimes you feel that maybe somebody's not performing at the level or the quality of work that you had hoped for. Another thing that I think that is also usually very difficult, especially in the entrepreneurial space that we operate in, is how you can keep your business continuously functioning and operating at a certain level on a day-to-day basis. So those to me are some of the difficult situations that I've experienced both in the workplace and also as an entrepreneur. Well, to be honest, I have visions or aspirations to possibly do another startup. I also see myself possibly becoming an investor in startups as well. And increasingly, I see an opportunity, given the experiences I've had for more than 25 years, to either write a book or come up with some kind of a training program that would allow me to, again, impart the knowledge and experiences that I've had to others who are seeking a profession or a career in some of the spaces that we're involved in. So in a nutshell, those are some of the things I see myself doing in the next 2 to 5 years or so. Well, there's so many things that I would have done differently. To be honest with you, sometimes you almost wonder that if I knew it was going to be this difficult, maybe I would never have started. I wish maybe I'd started a bit earlier. I think that would have been possibly the right thing to do. It might have opened up more opportunities. As we go along, I think along the way, there might have been a few missed opportunities to try new things and different things, which is why to some extent I'm so focused and almost obsessed with this AI moment. So as a father, I think I'm much closer than I used to be. I spend a lot of time with my kids. On the weekends, I usually joke with them that I'm the free Uber driver that they get because I take them to all the football practice and other activities they do on the weekend. And being a father for me is incredibly important. I think it defines me as a person today. It guides me in all that I do. It gives me the true north about why I do what I do. And for me, it's an extreme privilege and opportunity to be a father.